Hi there, I'm Nancy Nash with Starfish Strength, and today I want to walk you through a great ab, back, and shoulder workout you can do with just a resistance band and a door anchor. For our workout today, you'll want to make sure you have a long resistance band, and if it has handles, great, and if it doesn't, we'll still get a great workout. And then you'll also want to make sure you have a door anchor. So the first thing I want to do is put my door anchor and my band in my door. So I'm going to take the door anchor and actually put it through the hinge side of my door. So I want that wheel to catch on the other side. So whether you're using the hinge side of your door or the latch side, you just want to make sure that you've got a door that's pretty secure, but it has just a little bit of a gap to slide that loop through. So once my anchor is secure, now I'm going to slide the band into it. So I'm going to take one handle and poke it through the loop and then pull it through until I've got an even amount of band on either side of my anchor. So I'm going to start off with a banded row. So I want an even stance and one handle in each hand. And essentially I'm going to roll my shoulders back and down as I pull the elbows towards my rib cage. Now check out your feet. Make sure they're about hip socket distance apart. Make sure you're drawing your belly button in as you're pulling. What we don't want to see is that body rocking back and forth. So think about I'm balancing like on a boat and I'm going to hold myself in place and the band is those waves coming at me. And I'm resisting that with the front and back sides of my core. So I'm using my abs, I'm using the middle of my back, and I'm really focusing on pushing into my feet. So as this progresses and you use more resistance, it should start feeling like a whole body exercise. You're going to be really pulling the abs in as you pull the shoulder blades down and together. Now, some of us tend to, when someone tells us to pull, kind of curve that shoulder forward, and that's really not fantastic as far as back strength goes. It's going to give me a crick in my neck or some pain in the shoulder. So I really want to focus on rolling the shoulder blades back and down, kind of thinking about pinching them together. And that's how you're really going to start accessing those back muscles and the other side of your core. You should feel this quite a bit in your abs. So let yourself try 1 or 2 more reps, and then we're going to turn to the side and change exercises. So I'm going to keep my band in exactly the same place, and we're going to do something called the Pallof Press. I want the feet about hip socket width apart. I'm going to do the same stance with my core. I'm going to draw the belly in, and I want to think about squeezing my tush a little bit. I'm going to press straight forward from the sternum and then roll the shoulders back as I come back towards me. Now, this looks really, really easy, but honestly, it's not. Once you get a good amount of resistance here, you're going to feel a really strong pull towards your anchor, and you're going to want to lean to the side. So I'm going to use my entire body to resist that. Draw that belly button in. Squeeze your glute muscles. Think about keeping the knees out about hip distance. And then I'm going to press straight out from about my sternum. And that's where the work comes in. As my arms straighten, you can tell your shoulders want to pull to the side. So while you're resisting that, you're really going to feel the work in your obliques, that side wall of the abdomen. You're also working the middle of your back, even though we're working the core muscles, and this is more of an upper body workout, you really have to use your legs to hold yourself in place. So let yourself feel through that, do a couple more, and then we're going to turn around and do that on the other side. So as we go into this on the second side, just be aware that this is probably going to feel a little bit different. Most of us have dominance in our body, and that might be different in your legs versus your arms. You can also have dominance in your core. Maybe your left obliques are a little bit stronger than your right. So just really focusing the best you can on that alignment, the hips on top of the knees, on top of the ankles, drawing the belly in, squeezing the glutes. I'm going to press forward from the sternum and then roll the shoulder blades back and down as I bring the band back towards myself. Go ahead and let yourself relax the shoulders. Give yourself a couple rear shoulder rolls with the palms facing forward. And then go ahead and let yourself just gently shake the hips out side to side. So we're going to go back into that banded row. And if this feels good, about halfway through, we're going to add a lunge into it. So go ahead and set up again. So I want pretty straight arms in my start position so that as I pull back, I'm really feeling that resistance throughout that whole range of motion. So remembering that my foot position is pretty important here. I want to make sure that the ankles are about hip width apart. I'm going to draw the belly in, pull the shoulder blades down and together as I begin to row. Hopefully you can really feel this in the glutes, in the feet. You can really kind of feel it just a little bit everywhere throughout the entire body. Let yourself try a couple more reps, just really bracing the body against that desire to rock back and forth. And now if you're ready for it, we're going to add a lunge into this. So I'm actually going to step back, keep most of the weight in the forward leg, lunge, pull towards myself, reach back out, and then pushing off that forward foot, step together. So we're going to alternate legs. So just give yourself an ability to try a couple of these. If it's not working, that's okay. Just go back to our original row. As you get stronger, you can always add that lunge in later if you want to. So go ahead and let yourself try that again. Draw the belly in, keep that weight on the forward leg as you lunge back, pull, reach, step together, and then try that on the other side. So as I'm lunging, I am thinking about trying to keep that ankle, knee, and hip alignment, even though this might feel really different left to right. So just do the best you can. Try to keep the shoulders stacked on top of the hips. Keep drawing that belly button in. And then make sure that you're not looking down at your feet. I know sometimes we need to get our footing, but once you've found your balance, see if you can look straight forward. Think about where the horizon line would be. So go ahead and let yourself try one or two more, just slowly and with good control, feeling all the muscles were working. Great job. Make sure you let yourself grab some water, and we're going to go back into that Pallof press. So I'm going to hold both handles together. Hold my hands together right at my sternum, draw the belly in, squeeze the glutes, press straight forward from my chest, and then really roll the shoulder blades back and down as I bring the band back towards my chest. It's going to feel most difficult when I've got the arms fully extended and pressed out in front of me. That's when I've got that maximum amount of resistance. So if you do want to step further away from the door and make this a little more challenging for yourself, make sure that you still feel like you can fully extend the arms in front of you. So let's go ahead and set up for that Pallof press on the other side. So I'm going to, again, make sure that my feet are about hip socket width apart. Draw the belly in, squeeze the glutes, make sure the knees, hips, and ankles are aligned. And then I'm going to bring the hands to the chest and push straight forward. So rolling the shoulders back and down as I bring the hands in towards my chest, and then pressing, contracting those abs. Hopefully at this point, I can kind of feel it right underneath the shoulder blades, maybe underneath the armpits a little bit. I should feel it in the middle of my back. If you are feeling anything in the lower back, just give yourself a moment, shake out the hips, and then come back into this with a little less resistance. Because usually when that happens, that tells me that I don't have a good hold on the glutes. Really make sure you draw the belly in and you can feel that contraction in the glutes, the butt muscles, as you're pushing forward. And then you'll be set up to feel better later on as well. Great job. So before we move on, I just want to show you a quick stretch that you can do to make these muscles feel great. I'm going to hold both handles with one hand and step to the side. And then I'm going to straighten both arms with the palms facing forward. So I should feel a pretty good stretch across my chest, in the biceps, and the shoulders. And if it feels okay, I could give myself a little more resistance here and even slightly lean to the side. Then I'm going to take my chin and turn it towards that outward facing hand and maybe also tilt it down to really stretch my neck. So just holding for 10 to 20 seconds. And then go ahead and let yourself step towards the anchor. And we're going to switch sides and do that on the other arm. So again, really stretching through the chest. I can feel that stretch in the biceps and the forearm. And then gently turning the chin towards that outward facing arm and tilting the chin down if that feels okay to the neck and shoulder. And then after you've held for about 10 to 20 seconds, go ahead and let yourself grab some water and we're going to move on. For our next two exercises, I actually want to put the door anchor at the top of the door. So that could be like right at the top of the door, or you could put it in your top hinge side, which is what I'm going to do. Because in my door, there's a little gap there and it gives me a little more stability while still being kind to the door. And then just make sure I've got an even amount of band on each side. So the next exercise we're going to do is an overhead tricep pull. So I'm going to hold one handle in each hand and step away from the door and raise my arms. So the exercise is really throwing overhead. So this is a lot like the dumbbell pullover, but I'm going to give you two options for your footing here. So the first option is to not step very far from the door. Make sure that my feet are about shoulder width apart. Move the elbows a little narrower than my shoulders. And I'm going to hinge forward from the ankle and basically be in a plank throwing this. Really squeeze the abs, squeeze the glutes, try to hold my entire body in place and throw overhead. I'm bringing the elbows back to about a 90-degree angle overhead, and then using the abs and glutes to throw again. So this is a pretty challenging position to hold. So if this does feel like too much and you start to feel your back's really curving, or you just feel something kind of unkind in your lower body, I'm going to suggest that you do this second stance. So I'm going to come into a lunge position. I want to make sure that most of my weight is in the balls of my feet. I'm still going to line up like we lined up for a lunge before. So making sure that the ankles, knees, and hips are in alignment with each other. I don't have that back foot turned out. And I don't have the knees collapsing in towards one another. We want to make sure everything feels good after this workout. I'm still going to suggest that you don't step terribly far away from the door so that you stay upright and you can still feel this in the glutes and in the lower abs. Again, I'm going to bring the elbows a little narrower than my shoulders, draw the belly in as I throw overhead. And then we're going to switch and lunge with the other leg. And whichever leg is forward is going to have a little more of my body weight. So just remembering to shift yourself forward, make sure that you can hold in that position as you're throwing overhead. And if you can't, go ahead and let yourself come out of it. Just step back a little bit and then go ahead and set up for it again. So keeping the elbows a little narrower than the shoulders, I should really feel a mighty burn in my triceps. I should feel this underneath and between my shoulder blades in my back, and I should feel this in my upper abs as well. Our second overhead exercise is a banded lat pull. You might have done the lat pull-down bar at the gym. This is going to be really similar. We're going to think about keeping the wrists, elbows in the same plane and kind of keeping those sort of lined up with our nose. I'm going to step back so I've got a decent bit of resistance, draw the belly in, and I'm going to hinge at the waist. So I just want to be mindful that I can still feel this in my abs. I should also feel it in the middle of my back. And then as I pull, I'm going to pull the elbows out to the sides. I'm going to pull the hands almost all the way down to my chin and then reach back up, remembering to keep the hands and the elbows kind of right in front of my face. So like I'm sliding them on a glass pane, like right in front of my nose. So see if you can kind of get that feeling for yourself. It might feel a little different left to right because the lat pull-down bar at the gym doesn't have as much play as this resistance band has. So if your left shoulder feels tighter than your right, it's going to be a little kinder to that shoulder. So you have to do all of the stability. This is also why this is such a great toning workout, because you really have to think about using all of that stability in your body. You don't have a machine doing any of that stability for you. So see if you can focus on that alignment for a couple more reps, and then go ahead and let yourself step up and come into that rear shoulder roll again. Grab some water if you need some, and then we're going to come back into that overhead tricep pull. So again, grabbing an even amount of band on each side. I'm going to try that plank variation first. So I'm going to bring the elbows a little narrower than the shoulders, and then I'm going to draw the belly in and hinge from the ankles. So I've got a little more weight in the balls of my feet than I do in the heels, because I'm leaning forward here and I'm really contracting my abs. I'm contracting my glutes, but I should still feel this a lot in the triceps and in the back. So give yourself a couple more, just see if this variation works for you. And then if you need to, you can always go into that lunge stance. So let yourself step back. And then as I lunge forward, I'm going to draw the belly in, shift some weight into the balls of the feet, bring the elbows a little narrower than the shoulders, and do that throw overhead. And I do want to try to get an even number of reps on each leg. So just sort of keep that in mind. Try to resist the urge to overdo it on this side. Let yourself step back, shake out the hips briefly, and then we're going to go into that second leg. So I'm going to try to keep my lunge even here. Try to make sure that back foot's not turned out to the side. Keeping the elbows a little bit narrower than the shoulders. Drawing the abs in. And really shifting my weight into the balls of the feet. Because as you'll notice, that lean that you're doing is going to add resistance to this, right? We're adding gravity to the resistance in the band. So if you find that you're not feeling it in those places or something doesn't feel right in the front of your shoulders, go ahead, let yourself step back, reset, and then try it again with less resistance. So give yourself 1 or 2 really good throws, and then go ahead and let yourself step back. We're going to come into that overhead lat pull exercise one more time. So really remembering that alignment, that I want the elbows right in front of the body. I want to make sure that the wrist and the elbows are kind of sliding in a good alignment. Now, if you have like a broomstick or a PVC pipe, you can actually practice this for yourself, just sliding it up and down. The other thing you can practice gently with that is doing kind of a bend in the bar. So like it's a crowbar so that the elbows are coming in towards one another. And that's when you're really going to notice that the triceps and the lats start really lighting up. And hopefully it feels a little more even left to right this time. And really let yourself go through that whole range of motion. Try not to do those short little reps. Make sure you really reach up, let the shoulder blades go up. And then draw the belly in, really pull the shoulders all the way down, and think about the elbows kind of hugging in. And that is where you're really going to build that back lat strength. It might not feel like your back is working today, but you might feel this quite a bit tomorrow. So just keep focusing on that alignment, and you will grow a back in no time, I promise. Awesome job. You made it through this entire workout. If you didn't feel it in all of the muscle groups that we were talking about today, don't worry. Keep practicing and you will. Thanks so much for exercising with me today. I hope that you feel just a little more prepared going into your next workout to maximize your results and get more out of all of the movement you're doing in your life. If you do want more specific advice on how to set up your exercise and nutrition plan to maximize your results, please reach out to me in the link in the description. And in the meantime, I'll look forward to continuing this journey with you. I'll see you in the next video. Are you coming to help?
Are you going to supervise? Thank you. I appreciate your help. Do you want to show the people how to put the door anchor in?